Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage. Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. News at 5, in association with Accolant Amusement Park, Annapurna Foods, Junior Holics, and Bisfarm Biscuits.
Assam flood situation continues to be grim. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma visits affected areas, takes stock of situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dials Assam Chief Minister, assures all possible help in tackling flood situation. Centre swings into action to pacify Agnipath protesters, announces reservations in defence PSUs, Coast Guard, CAPF and Assam Rifles for Agniveers. Panic buying of fuel in Mizoram as disruption of Guwahati Silchar route leads to fear of shortage of essentials. State government orders a rationing of fuel. And fresh killing sends shockwaves among non-locals in Manipur's Churachandpur. Traders keep shops closed, a mark of protest. Hello and welcome to News at 5. I am Pooja and we begin the bulletin with the top story at this hour. Well, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma today visited several flood-affected areas in state to take stock of the situation. Well, wading through flood waters, the Chief Minister's convoy travelled to parts of Kamrup and Darang districts. Well, visiting relief camps in Rongya and Darang, Chief Minister Sharma gave a patient hearing to the problems faced by the people and directed the respective district administration to ensure all possible assistance. Well, during the visit, Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma also asked local MLAs to prepare a list of the people whose houses have been damaged by the floods. Well, this, Sharma said, will enable the administration to reach out to them with relief and rehabilitation measures. Well, noting that severe floods have caused a lot of difficulties to the people, Chief Minister Sharma directed officials to address all genuine concerns at the earliest. Meanwhile, speaking to media persons, the Chief Minister Sharma said that heavy rainfall on the Bhutan side have made things worse. Admitting that the situation continues to be grim in several parts of the state, Sharma said that the district administrations are doing best to take relief to all affected people. Well, significantly, Chief Minister Sharma informed that almost all marooned people have been brought to safety.
Because of heavy rain in Bhutan and release of water by various tidal generation companies, including Korishu, water intake has suddenly increased manifold. Also, there are continuous rain in Assam. So all these things has multiplied the agony or pain of people. In this river itself, there is a breach of embankment in 7 points. In Puthimari, there is an embankment breach in 3 points. In the Manas National Park area also, there is a big breach has happened. So situation is grim. However, district administration is doing their best to provide relief. Today morning, Honorable Prime Minister called me. He expressed his sorrow and he assured complete help from the Government of India side. We will assess the damage and we will try to do our best to give back whatever is possible at our end to the people, to the affected people. NDRF, SDRF, Army, all are doing their best. Fortunately, we could recover most of the maroon people. So relief camp has been established. So people are getting adequate relief material. However, in some area, on the very first day of the flood, it is very difficult. But from second and third day, relief has been picked up. We have used Air Force extensively to drop food stuff. But as of now, we don't have maroon people. So that is why, although they are in standby, we have not asked them to start operation.
We are at Sipajar, and this is NH15, which connects Baihata Chariali with Tejpur. And as you can see, flood water is overtopping the highway at several locations. Vehicular movement has been stopped on this highway as precautionary measure. And right now, you can see Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma is touring the various flood-affected areas. You can see how the cavalcade of Assam Chief Minister Dr. Himanta Biswa Sharma is wading through this flooded stretch of NH15. He is taking the extra risk of visiting the far-flung areas and taking stock of the flood scenario in Assam. The flood scenario in Assam is grim. 28 out of the total 35 districts of the state are reeling under flood waters. And as you can see, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma, he is visiting the various trouble-torn areas, flood-hit areas in Assam, and his carcade is also wading through the flood waters. He is taking the extra risk to travel to the far-flung places, meet the flood-affected people, and take stock of the entire scenario. Today, he has visited Dorong as well as Baksar district, and he has taken stock of the situation. He has visited several embankments which has been breached by flood waters. And as you can see, this highway, which is right now closed for vehicular movement because flood water is overtopping the highway at several locations. Now, with the Met Department predicting more rainfall in the coming days, the flood situation in Assam might worsen further. Reporting from Ground Zero in Sipajar, this is Arindam Das for Northeast Live.
Meanwhile, as per inputs, the release of water from Bhutan side is making things worse in areas like Bojali. All right, our Chief of Bureau, Arindam Das, who is at Ground Zero, covering the entire scenario out there. We are there live at this point in time. Arindam, you are at Ground Zero, but at this point in time, where are you? How is the situation there? Please brief us.
Yes, Pooja, we are right now in Mongoldoi town in Dorong district, which is one of the worst affected areas by this wave of flood. The flood scenario remains unchanged across Assam, and the scenario is not different here also in Dorong district. Right now, I'm going to show our viewers a different picture. Over 1 lakh people are forced to take shelter in various relief camps set up by the district administration. We have been told that over 600 relief camps have been set up at various locations in Assam to give shelter to the flood affected people. These people were forced to flee their homes when flash floods created havoc in their villages. They somehow managed to flee from their villages. They somehow managed to flee from their homes just with their lives. They could not bring out any of their belongings when they came to the highland areas to take shelter. And as you can see, this is one such shelter camp which is being set up here in Mongoldo town. And you can see the misery of the people here. These people, they have lost everything. Flash floods created havoc in their villages, and they somehow managed to flee their villages with their lives. And right now you can see the cattle as well as the human, they are coexisting in this shelter camp. This is the relief camp that has been set up by the district administration. আচ্ছা আপোনালোকৰ কিমান মানুহ আছে ইয়াতে?
ইয়াতে 12 ঘৰ আছে।
আচ্ছা কওকচোন পানী কেনেকুৱা, পৰিস্থিতি কেনেকুৱা?
পানী একদম ঘৰৰ ভিতৰত ইমানখিনি আৰু বস্তু সামৰিবই পৰা নাই। ৰাতিয়ে পানীখিনি আহি গ'ল। বৰ্তমান আমি হেৰি থাকিব লগা হ'ল স্কুল ঘৰত কেম্প সাজি। আৰু আমাৰ ভাগিন আছে, তেওঁলোকতো একদম ইমান পানী, বস্তু বাহিনী চব উঠিয়ে গৈছে কিছু। তাৰপিছত ইয়াত থাকিব লগা হৈছে। সৰু ছোৱালী আছে 2জন, ডাঙৰ 8জন। এনেকৈ মানে আমি আছোঁ আৰু সকলোৱে, চবৰে উঠিছে পানী।
So there you have heard, Pooja, these people, they fled their homes when flash flood created havoc in their villages. They somehow managed to flee with their lives. They could not bring out any of their belongings
Okay.
from their houses. And there are more people here. I'll try to speak to as many
Right.
people as
Now, Arindam,
I
if we
can.
talk
Koksun
about the
kenuka
people who
asubidha
are
hoise?
there at yes, Arindam, if
লাইটটো নাই, এতিয়া লাইটটো আহিছে।
all right, please continue. Please
Yes,
get
yes,
their
yes.
reactions. What kind of problems
Pooja.
they are facing at this point in time? Get their reactions.
কওকচোন কেনেকুৱা পৰিস্থিতিত আপোনালোকে পলাব লগা হ'ল গাঁও এৰি?
পানী ইমানখিনি হৈছে ভিতৰত, ইয়াতে ঘৰ, ইমানখিনি পানী হৈছে। পানী হোৱাৰ কাৰণে মানে থাকিব যাব উপায় নাই। উপায় নাই কাৰণে গাড়ী থৈছোঁ এই দলঙৰ ওপৰত, থৈ পেলাই দিয়া আহিছোঁ। ইয়াতে আছোঁ আজি 7 দিন নে 5 দিন হ'ল ইয়াত থকা। এতিয়া মেইন কথা হৈছে পানী খোৱাৰ কাৰণে নাই এতিয়া। আজি আমাৰ ইয়াৰে গৰুজুতি দিছিল পানী অলপ, কিন্তু এতিয়া নাই। সেইখিনি পানী দুপৰীয়া শেষ, এতিয়া নাই আৰু পানী। খোৱাৰ কাৰণে অলপ পানীটো অসুবিধা হৈছে, বাকী একো অসুবিধা হোৱা নাই।
আচ্ছা ঘৰৰ পৰা একো বস্তু আনিব পৰা নাই?
নাই, একো আনিব পৰা নাই, একো আনিব পৰা নাই। আলমাৰী চুকে চুকে চব পানীতে আছে এতিয়া বৰ্তমান। টিভিটোও গ'ল চাগে পানীত।
Okay, Pooja, I have more people here. Koksun, there are more people here who are taking shelter in this relief camp. They are somehow managing to take shelter here because they have lost everything. Their villages are
All right, Arindam,
inundated,
if we
and
talk about
they
the
somehow managed to flee
basic
their homes with their lives.
food,
Hello, Koksun.
basic food or basic relief materials, have they got the excess of basic flood relief materials? Are the authorities, whoever is working on these relief camps, have provided them with basic relief materials to the flood affected people out there who are taking shelter there?
Yes, let me ask some of the people here.
Absolutely.
Bado Koksun, relief paise ne?
কি কল
Relief paise ne? Relief?
ৰিলিফ পাইছে
ৰিচিপ্ট
পাইছে ৰিলিফ দিছে।
Ki paise?
দালি, তেল, চাউল, বিস্কুট, পানী চানী সেনেকে দিছে আনি। দিছে আৰু পাৰ পৰিয়াল হিচাপে দি গৈছে। কেইজন বাচ্চা আছে, কি আছে সেনেকে লিখিছে তেওঁলোকে, সেনেকে দি গৈছে। আৰু
Bado apni Koksun, relief silif paise ne?
পাইছোঁ ৰিলিফ। আজি মাননীয় গুৰুজ্যোতিদেৱ ৰাতিপুৱা আহিছিল আৰু আহি আমাক পানী, খোৱা পানী আৰু বিস্কুট দিলে।
Okay.
মোৰ ঘৰ লাচিত নগৰ 7 নম্বৰ ৱাৰ্ডত কোনোমতে ওলাই আহিছোঁ, বস্তু বাহনি একো অনা নাই, চব ডুব যাই আছে। আহিছোঁ আৰু নিজৰ
All right.
জীৱনটো বচাই।
Arindam, we heard what the situation is all about. We heard from them what kind of relief materials they have accessed at this point in time. Now, if we talk about the flood situation there, Arindam, please brief us about, as you had been covering from the ground zero, how is the situation at this point in time?
Well, the situation is grim. The situation remains unchanged because the sky is still overcast. It has been raining frequently. And as the Chief Minister himself has said, that the situation has worsened because of rain waters gushing from Bhutan mountains. In fact, gates of dams, hydel projects have been opened up, which has created havoc in the downstream areas of Dorong and other districts of Assam. So, coupled with the rainwater that has been infesting the entire state for the past couple of days, it is the water that is gushing in from the mountains of Bhutan and from the dams of Bhutan. The situation is getting more critical. So, right now, I can say that 28 out of the 35 districts of the state are reeling under flood waters, and over 18 lakh people have been displaced in these flash floods, and over 1 lakh people like these people are forced to take shelter in over 600 relief camps set up by the district administration. Pooja.
All right. Thank you, Arindam, for giving us those details at this point in time. And if we talk about the flood situation in the state of Tripura, so the flood situation is also grim in the state capital Agartala, where scores of people are still taking shelter in temporary relief camps set up in schools, shelter houses, and even temple premises. Incessant rains for over several hours on Friday left large parts of Agartala and Sadar subdivision in Tripura's West district inundated. One such temporary shelter for flood victims is a Radha Madhav temple of Manipuri community people in a Radhanagar area, where more than 2-century-old famous Ras Purnima dedicated to Lord Krishna and Radha takes place. Well, 50 families, including 17 families from Muslim community, are taking shelter in this Hindu temple during this hour of crisis. In the meantime, district administration officials and health staff are regularly visiting and engaging in helping affected populace, besides providing them with food, water, and medicines. Now, Tripura Sports and Youth Affairs Minister Shushant Chaudhary, who is also the government spokesman, while speaking to Northeast Live during his inspection of one of the camps for flood victims, informed that along with the administration, large number of BJP karyakartas have voluntarily turned out to help the flood victims.
The incessant rain yesterday has disturbed the normal life here in Agartala, across the states, but especially here in Agartala. We are here visiting various shelter houses here, where people in large number, the slum dwellers especially, have taken shelter in large scale, and our BJP Karyakartas have taken the initiative to rescue and provide relief, and they have participated in large number in the relief operation. They are providing food, water, medicines to the flood affected people here, and on behalf of the government also, they have taken various initiatives to provide them the relief. Around 1,000 families, they have taken shelter in various shelter houses. More rain is expected in the couple of days, so everybody has to go very vigilant and keep surveillance in a proper manner, so that we can provide them proper attention and relief and rescue operation to be continued in true spirit.
All right, so this is the situation at this point in time in Tripura, as the flood situation is also grim in the state capital, Agartala, where scores of people are still taking shelter in temporary relief camps set up in schools, shelter houses, and even temple premises. And with that, we take a short break. Stay tuned for more news.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. On YouTube, unmatched coverage.
Acha? Introducing the new Suzuki Avenus, the sportiest, zippiest ride in town that's loaded with next generation GPS navigation. Simiko আছে যদি মই কলোহেতেন আমি মাতিছো তেন্তে ওয়েট কৰালাহেতেন নহয় the new Suzuki Avenus Mose for trip
মই ব্যৱহাৰ কৰো আটাইতকৈ সবল আৰু সতেজ সিমেন্ট সূৰ্যা সিমেন্ট অটুট ঘৰ অটুট অসম
Evening Prime, the prime time news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Yup.
Welcome back, and on to the big national focus now. Well, in a bid to quell the raging nationwide protest against the Agnipath scheme, the centre today announced a slew of reservations for the Agniveers who will be able to avail the benefit after 4 years of service. Well, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, following a meeting with the tri-service chiefs, announced that Agniveers will be able to avail 10% reservation in the Indian Coast Guard and Defence civilian post and all the 16 defence PSUs. Well, this reservation would be in addition to the existing quota for ex-servicemen. 10% reservation has also been put in place in Assam Rifles and CAPF. Meanwhile, arson and vandalism continued as protesters opposing the Agnipath scheme took to the streets once again today. And if we talk about the cities which are protesting as the ongoing row over Agnipath entered its 4th day today, shocking visuals have come in from Uttar Pradesh's Jaunpur. A flash mob allegedly set fire to a bus in Jaunpur of Uttar Pradesh. Scores of riders descended along the Yamuna Expressway and blocked the traffic movement, prompted the police to lodge an FIR as many as 225 protesters and arrest 15 others. And in addition to that, a fresh violence have also erupted in Bihar's Jehanabad. A violent mob pelted stones on security personnel, apart from setting fire to vehicles in Jehanabad. The incident took place near the Tehta police outpost on the Patna-Gaya highway. And earlier on Friday, several trains were set ablaze in Bihar, Uttar Pradesh and Telangana. Well, the stir has also spread to streets in Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, and Delhi. Over 300 trains have been affected, and state governments in Bihar and Haryana resorting to internet shutdowns to curb the growing unrest. In the aftermath of violent protests, the Bihar government has suspended internet and mobile telephone services in many districts. Internet and telecom services will remain suspended till June 19th in 12 districts of Bihar. And moreover, as the agitation spread to the state, the Haryana government suspended mobile internet services and all SMS services in view of law and order situation. The order will remain in force for the next 24 hours. All right, so these are two visuals on your screen. One is from Chennai and one is from Uttar Pradesh, where you can see how protesters are protesting at this point in time on this Agnipath scheme. And if we talk about the protest that has been going around, arson and vandalism continued as protesters opposing the Agnipath scheme took to the streets once again today. And as the ongoing row over Agnipath entered its fourth day today, shocking visuals have come in from Uttar Pradesh's Jaunpur, Uttar Pradesh's Balia as well. A flash mob allegedly set fire to bus in Jaunpur of Uttar Pradesh. And right now on your screens are the visuals from Balia in Uttar Pradesh and Chennai, where the police officers are trying to control the protesters, barricaded them, but still they are protesting at this point in time. Trains have been burned, buses have been burned, and scores of riders descended along the Yamuna Expressway and blocked the traffic movement, prompted the police to lodge an FIR. And on your screens, these are the visuals from Taregana, Bihar, where you can see how the protesters have vandalized the entire public property out there. They have burned the vehicles, the two-wheelers, the four-wheelers are burned down. And these are the visuals of Jehanabad in Bihar. And earlier, the three service chiefs of armed forces reacted to the prevailing situation and urged youths to not resort to violence. Indian Air Force Air Chief Marshal V.R. Chaudhary said that resorting to violence will not bring in any solution to the issue. He further added that there are many advantages of the Agnipath scheme, keeping in view the changing dynamics of warfare.
If you look at the entire scheme in totality, there are many advantages which need to be highlighted. Number one, the domains of warfare are changing. We need younger people, more tech-savvy people in these services. Secondly, for the Air Force in particular, we will benefit from being able to select the more technically qualified people for their particular job that they're going to do in future in the Air Force. The message is not only for people who want to join the armed forces, but as in whole, for the citizens of India. I think it is resorting to violence and arson is not the solution for any problem. The solution lies in understanding the situation, understanding the scheme. If they have got any doubts, there are many military stations, Air Force bases, naval bases around their localities. They can always go to them, get their doubts clarified, and be assured themselves that this scheme is going to be beneficial for them. The first and foremost message I'm telling them is to accept and lead the change. It's a change for the better. It's a change for the future. And first of all, we men and women in uniform should be very clear as to what the change and how it is going to take us into the future.
An Indian Navy Chief Admiral R. Hari Kumar has said that he did not anticipate widespread protest like this, and the ongoing uproar has been largely due to misinformation. In what has come as the first reactions of the Indian Navy Chief amidst the row over Agnipath scheme, Admiral R. Hari Kumar added that the Agniveer model proposed by the centre is the single largest human resources management transformation exercise in the Indian military.
I didn't anticipate any protest like this. This is a scheme in which I was part of the initial planning team, and I worked on it for almost a year and a half, and I now see the scheme coming to a completion and introduction into the armed forces. It's a transformational scheme, as I said. It will transform the armed forces in many ways. It is I would say, the single biggest human resources management transformation that has ever happened in the Indian military. And this is beneficial for the country, this is beneficial for the youth, because it opens up more opportunities.
An earlier Indian Army Chief Manoj Pandey said that youth are still not aware about the Agnipath scheme. Well, General Pandey further added that once the youth come to know about the scheme, they will too extend their support.
Let me start by saying that our units and formations are ready to embrace this change. And not only are they prepared, but they are extremely keen to adopt the Agnipath scheme. Our effort will be to spread awareness about the scheme up to the last soldier in the earliest possible time frame. As far as the youth is concerned, I feel they haven't fully understood the contents and the implications of the scheme, and that is why there are some apprehensions in their mind. But once they have fully understood the contents of the scheme, I'm sure that they will realize it is not only for their good, but also for the good of the nation and good of the Indian Army. In the last couple of days, a number of initiatives have been announced by the state governments, different ministries, certain corporate houses, and other agencies. I think all this will only allay their fears and further help them gain confidence in the scheme.
Shifting focus now, at least 2 people died after a group of unidentified gunmen stormed a Gurudwara in Kabul and opened fire. The deceased have been identified as a 60-year-old Savinder Singh and Ahmed, who was a security guard at Gurudwara. The gunmen triggered as many as 2 blasts before launching the attack. At this moment, at least 7 to 8 people were then held hostage at Gurudwara. The area where the incident took place is densely populated, and as per local reports, the 2 blasts happened near the 2 gates of Gurudwara, Dashmesh Pita Sahib Ji, Karte Parwan, Kabul. BJP leader Manjinder Singh Sirsa told news agency ANI that 3 people have managed to come out of the Gurudwara, 2 of whom have been taken to the hospital. The guard of the Gurudwara was shot dead, he added.
अफगानिस्तान के काबुल में गुरुद्वारा करते परवान में आज सुबह दहशतगर्दों ने हमला कर दिया। इस हमले के अंदर कितने लोग गुरुद्वारे के अंदर घुसे इसकी जानकारी नहीं है, लेकिन मुसाफिरों के अलावा 10 लोग गुरुद्वारे में कुल थे। गुरुद्वारे के ग्रंथी थे, गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब महाराज जी का प्रकाश किया गया था जब ये हमला हुआ। वहां बम ब्लास्ट भी हुए हैं, अभी भी फायरिंग वहां पे चल रही है। मेरी गुरुद्वारे के प्रधान से और बाकी लोगों से बात निरंतर हो रही है, किसी को कुछ नहीं समझ में आ पा रहा। दहशतगर्दों के कब्जे में गुरुद्वारा और वहां पे खूब ब्लास्ट किए जा रहे हैं और फायरिंग की जा रही है। हम सब परमात्मा से, वाहिगुरु से यही अरदास करते हैं कि सब तो सुरक्षित रहे और गुरुद्वारा वापस हमारे लोगों के हाथ में आए, इसकी हम सब लोग कामना करते हैं, अरदास करते हैं।
In October last year, 15 to 20 terrorists entered a Gurudwara in Karte Parwan district of Kabul and tied up the guards. Also, in March 2020, a deadly attack took place at Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Gurudwara in Kabul's Shop Bazaar area, in which Islamic State terrorists 27 Sikhs were killed and several were injured. Additionally, earlier an explosion at a traffic square in Kabul's 4th police district had killed at least 30 people and injured others at the Hazrat Zakaria Mosque. The Taliban faced a severe security threat from the Khorasan branch of ISIS, which has been active in Afghanistan since 2014. With that, we take a short break. Stay tuned for more news.
Northeast Live, the most viewed news channel in the region. on YouTube. Unmatched coverage.
Introducing the new Suzuki Avenus, the sportiest, zippiest ride in town that's loaded with next generation GPS navigation.
নতুন মিউজিক ডাইরেক্টর রোহানে এতিয়ালৈকে মিউজিক পঠোৱা নাই।
I've got it. The new Suzuki Avenus. More zip for trip.
সুগন্ধ ৰং আৰু সোৱাদ খাতি এভৰিডে জিভাত দিয়ে আচল জুতি। এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ 100% টেষ্ট। এভৰিডে স্পাইচেছ বেষ্ট।
Evening Prime, the primetime news at 7. Now, in a whole new look. Only on Northeast Live. Your state.
Welcome back. And before moving to some other stories, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Assam flood situation continues to be grim. Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma visits affected areas, takes stock of situation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi dials Assam Chief Minister, assures all possible help in tackling flood situation. Centre swings into action to pacify Agnipath protesters, announces reservations in defence PSUs, Coast Guard, CAPF and Assam Rifles for Agniveers. Panic buying of fuel in Mizoram as disruption of Guwahati's Silchar route leads to fear of shortage of essentials. State government orders rationing of fuel. And a fresh killing sends shockwaves among non-locals in Manipur's Churachandpur. Traders keep shops closed, a mark of protest. And onto a big story from the region. A sense of panic still prevails among the non-local traders in Manipur's Churachandpur town in the wake of the killing of a businessman last night. Although the culprits behind the incident is yet to be identified and booked, the non-local traders downed their shutters as a mark of protest against the killing of Anand Gupta, who hails from Bihar. Apprehensive of the situation in days to come, the non-local traders have appealed that they must not be targeted unnecessarily. Meanwhile, Shiv Shankar, who is the secretary of Bihari Society in Churachandpur, said that the community leaders will deliberate on what future steps must be taken so that such incidents never occur again.
आज हमारे सुभाष गुप्ता के छोटे भाई आनंद गुप्ता को कल रात अज्ञात लोगों ने गोली मारकर उनकी हत्या कर दी। उनकी शव को हम लोगों ने इम्फाल रिम्स में ले जाके पोस्टमार्टम कराया आज में। इसके बाद बॉडी को आज हम लोग एयरपोर्ट से कलकत्ता से फिर बिहार ले जाकर उनका अंतिम संस्कार दाह संस्कार किया जाएगा। इसके बाद में हम लोग अपना वहाँ बैठकर हम लोग अपना आपस में सोसाइटी में मीटिंग कर आगे क्या करना है, कैसी रणनीति अपनाना है। हम लोग यहाँ पर बिहार से इतनी दूर से चलकर काम करने के लिए आए हुए हैं, 2 रुपए रोजी रोटी कमाने के लिए आए हुए हैं। हम लोग के साथ इस तरह का दुर्व्यवहार करने से अच्छा नहीं है। आप लोग हमारे ऊपर भी थोड़ा ध्यान दें। सरकार से निवेदन है कि वो भी हम लोग परदेसी भाइयों के लिए कोई कार्यक्रम अपना ठीक से इसका इंक्वायरी करें, जानकारी लें किन तत्वों द्वारा ये सब किया गया है कि मार्केट हम लोग मंडे में बंद करेंगे, ना रैली निकाली जाएगी। इसकी हम लोग आपस में बैठ के सामाजिक लोग समाज के थ्रू इसमें क्या डिसीजन लिया जाएगा, उसके बाद प्रशासन को हम लोग इसका इन्फॉर्मेशन देंगे।
It may be mentioned that Anand Gupta was shot dead by unidentified miscreants last night Well, Gupta, who runs a variety shop at Zion Street in New Bazaar, was shot from point-blank range in his abdomen and right chest. The deceased was just closing his shop in the evening when an unidentified person entered the shop and started demanding money from Gupta. Then the gunman fired 5 rounds at the victim and fled from the scene. Anand Gupta was rushed at the district hospital where he was declared as dead after some time. His dead body was taken to RIMS for a post-mortem. Shifting focus to Mizoram now, with the disruption of road communication along the Shillong-Silchar route has started to cause a shortage of essential items in the hill state of Mizoram. As such, Mizoram is witnessing panic buying of fuel in the capital city Aizawl after a video of severe damages along the National Highway 6 at Lumshnong and Ratachera stretch in Meghalaya went viral on social media. Well, long queues of vehicles were seen in front of all filling stations across the city. It may be mentioned here that the National Highway 6 links National Highway 306, the lifeline of Mizoram, with the rest of the country, through which all the essential commodities, including fuel, are transported to the state. Besides, the State Food, Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Department yesterday issued a statement ordering petrol rationing to different categories of vehicles, which further fueled the apprehensions of acute scarcity of oil in the state. All right, my colleague Isaac Zoram Sanga joins us over the phone line to give us the latest on the situation in Mizoram. Well, Isaac, how is the fuel situation in Mizoram? Are supply lines cut off? What is the update?
Yes, this main supply route has been cut off to Mizoram. So now that the state government has taken several measures to take to import oil in the state. So such now the update from the latest update from the Consumer Food Civil Supplies and Consumer Affairs Department is that there has been there are still stock there are still around some small stock of petrol and diesel in the state, and also there are still 4 trucks which are still on the way to the state, which carry 4,000 liters each. And also, the state government is trying some measures to take to import from other states as well. Now the main route has been cut off due to these calamities. The state Consumer Affairs Department have stated they are trying possible measures, and things will get normal soon. Pooja.
All right. Now, Isaac, tell us about the rationing of sale in petrol. What is the order from the government?
Yes, as per the department, as per the concerned department order, the rationing of petrol have been taken up in all the petrol pumps in the state. So such that these 2-wheelers can take up to 5 liters of petrol, and also at the same time 10 liters of petrol in car, and above that they can take 15 liters at one time only. So such that this order of this rationing of petrol have been issued, have been given to all the petrol pumps here in the state, and they are following orders. Now that this crisis has happened, due to this crisis, there have been many lines of this petrol in the petrol pump, and in other. It has also been happened in other districts as well.
Okay, thank you, Isaac, for giving us those details at this point in time. All right, shifting focus now in a historic move. The Himanta Biswa Sharma government has decided to continue the Azan Peer Award, Sayyid Abdul Malik Award, and has instituted a new award, the Ali Ahmad Baskandi Award. Well, this indeed is a significant development after subcommittees on the development of indigenous Assamese Muslims recommended the Assam government to continue the Azan Peer Award and Sayyid Abdul Malik Award. Briefing news persons, Assam Cultural Affairs Minister Bimal Bora informed that Azan Peer Award will be conferred upon eminent folklorist and a teacher Dr. Amalendu Bhattacharjee.
শান্তি আৰু সমন্বয়ৰ বাবে আগবঢ়োৱা যায় আজান পীৰ বঁটা আৰু এইবাৰ আমি আজান পীৰ বঁটা আগবঢ়াম লোক সাহিত্য আৰু সংস্কৃতি বৰ্ণাঢ্য ক্ষেত্ৰখনত বিচৰণ কৰি নিৰলস সাধনা আৰু গৱেষণাৰে অসমৰ সমাজ জীৱন সমৃদ্ধ কৰা বিশিষ্ট লোকতত্ত্ববিদ আদৰ্শনিষ্ঠ শিক্ষক ডক্টৰ অমলেন্দু ভট্টাচাৰ্য ডাঙৰীয়া।
On the other hand, Dr. Chabilal Upadhyay will be honored with the Sayyid Abdul Malik Award for his significant contribution in the field of literature. Upadhyay is also known for his translations of Assamese literature into Gorkha language.
অসমৰ সাহিত্য জগতলৈ যিসকল লোকে অনবদ্য বৰঙণি আগবঢ়ায় সেইসকলক সৈয়দ আব্দুল মালিক বঁটাৰ জৰিয়তে সন্মান জনোৱা হয় আৰু সাহিত্য সাধনাত নিৰন্তৰ আত্মনিয়োগ কৰি অহা শ্ৰীযুত ছবিলাল উপাধ্যায় ডাঙৰীয়াক আমি এই বঁটা আগবঢ়াম। তেখেতে বহুখিনি গ্ৰন্থ ৰচনা কৰিছে, বহু অমূল্য অসমীয়া গ্ৰন্থ গোৰ্খা ভাষালৈ অনুবাদ কৰি অসমীয়া সাহিত্যৰ চৰ্চা আৰু সম্প্ৰসাৰণৰ অতুলনীয় অৱদান তেখেতে আগবঢ়ায়।
Besides, the Assam government will confer the newly instituted Ali Ahmad Baskandi Award to Sayyid Sadullah for his contributions in promoting peace and harmony among every community.
তেনেধৰণে আহমদ আলী বাস্কান্দি বঁটা বিভিন্ন ধৰ্মীয় জনগোষ্ঠীয় লোকৰ মাজত নিজৰ সৃষ্টিৰ যোগেদি সম্প্ৰীতিৰ বাতাবৰণ সৃষ্টি কৰিবৰ কাৰণে বিশিষ্ট ব্যক্তিসকলক এই বঁটাৰে সন্মানিত কৰা হয় আৰু শিল্পী সৈয়দ সাদুল্লাহ ডাঙৰীয়াক এই আহমদ আলী বাস্কান্দি বঁটা 2021 আমি আগবঢ়াম।
It needs to be mentioned here that Muslim community, including the Assamese Sayyid Welfare Trust, has welcomed the government's move to continue the Azan Peer Award and Sayyid Abdul Malik Award and institution of new award in the name of Ali Ahmad Baskandi. Well, this indeed is a big step towards Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma's massive outreach for the welfare and development of indigenous Muslims in the state. And shifting focus to a big story related to the Naga peace talks at a time when there is a stalemate of sorts in the peace talks with the NSC and IM standing firm on its separate flag and constitution demand, the group has issued a fresh statement backing its stand. In its latest statement, the NSC and IM has termed the flag and constitution as ingredients of recognized sovereignty and unique history of the Nagas. The NSC and IM statement added that flag and constitution cannot exist apart from the Naga people as they are symbols of their identity and hallmarks of nationhood. The statement comes at a time when there is a growing call for reaching a meeting point to find solution to the decade-old Naga issue. In an apparent take on the growing call for early solution, the NSC and IM said that there is no early or delayed solution, but all solutions have to be principle-based. Significantly, the NSC and IM also termed sovereignty as the soul of Naga nationhood, while claiming that it is one of the main agreed points of framework agreement. The NSC and IM statement says that sovereignty does not exist outside the people. The principle of democracy says sovereignty is with the people, The NSCNIM statement says that, adding that it is one of the main agreed points of the framework agreement. Well, taking a dig once again at the political class, the NSCNIM said that while the political leadership may be mandated by the people to fight for their cause, no organization or party is ever mandated to sell out the rights of the people. The NSCNIM also termed its struggle as a national resistance movement and not a secessionist campaign or a domestic problem of India. Meanwhile, the Global Naga Forum, which held a crucial meet with NEDA convener and Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sharma in Guwahati on Thursday, has sought for the latter's active involvement in bringing a peaceful resolution to the West Naga political issue. And coming to the flood situation in Arunachal Pradesh now, well, owing to incessant rain in several parts of a West Kameng district, routes linking the area to Tawang have been cut off. Evacuation is being carried out at Balemu under Kalaknang subdivision in the wake of the grim situation. Surface communication to Assam via Balemu Orang and Balemu Bhairabkund routes have been completely washed out. Well, Balemu administration has earmarked safer locations for evacuation. On the other hand, Balipara Charidwar Tawang Road connecting West Kameng and Tawang districts has also been affected due to landslides. So the flood situation in Arunachal Pradesh is indeed grim at this point in time, as owing to incessant rain in several parts of West Kameng district, routes linking the area to Tawang have been cut off. Evacuation is being carried out at Balemu under Kalaknang subdivision in the wake of grim situation. Surface communication to Assam via Balemu Orang and Balemu Bhairabkund routes have been completely washed out. Well, Balemu administration has earmarked safer locations for evacuation. On the other hand, Balipara Charidwar Tawang Road connecting West Kameng and Tawang districts has also been affected due to landslides. All right, my colleague Prem Chetri joins us over the phone line to give us an update on the flood situation there in Arunachal Pradesh. Well, the incessant rain in several parts of West Kameng district, routes linking the area to Tawang have been cut off. So at this point in time, tell us about the situation there.
Yes, Pooja. Since for past 2 days, there have been incessant rainfall in this district. And as a result, that Balipara Charidwar Tawang route, which is also one of the important roads that is connecting the two districts, West Kameng and Tawang district. So there has been reports of several blocks and landslides because of the landslides, and some of the roads have been washed away. And on the other hand, if we see, that is the OKSRT route, which is also one of the important routes that is connecting with Assam. And at this point of time, because of this continuous rainfall at Balipara, that is Balemu and Bhairabkund road, so that roads have also been disrupted. And most of the important thing is that here from West Kameng, when we take the OKSRT route for the commuters who are traveling to Assam, so over there, Orang, Balemu, that route is also being washed away. And on the other hand, which is connecting to Guwahati from Rauta, that is Balemu Bhairabkund road, there are also reports that some of the road portions have already been washed away. So meanwhile, the evacuation work has already been conducted since last night. It was, as per the reports, that by 2 a.m. at the night, that the police as well as the administrations of Balemu circle, so they had been evacuating the people and they are taking the people to the safer places. And at the same time, the high alerts have been already announced to the people not to stay nearby the river. As a result, that the river levels are also increasing over there. So as of now, 7 houses have been washed up, which are including the level camps who are living over there. So this is the consequences of the incessant rainfall that had occurred in past 2 days.
All right. Now, Prem Chetri, are the affected people taken to the safer locations, shifted to the relief camps?
Yes, it was yesterday night only the sector officer and as well as the officer in charge of Balimu police station. They have taken all those people. Dozens of persons are there. Nearly 7 houses have already been washed away. So all these people have been shifted to a nearby school, and now they are in a safer location.
All right. Thank you, Prem Chetri, for giving us those details at this point in time. And on to some more national stories now. With reports of targeted killings in the state of Jammu and Kashmir on the rise, another incident has come to light from the state. In a shocking incident, the body of a police officer was found lying under mysterious circumstances at a paddy field in Sambura. Police have confirmed that the attack on Sub-Inspector Farooq Ahmed Mir took place in the Pampore area on the intervening night of Friday and Saturday. Late Farooq Ahmed Mir was posted in the IRP 23rd Battalion at CTC Ledpora. As per the preliminary investigation by Kashmir Police, he left his home for work in his paddy field yesterday in the evening, where he was shot dead by militants.
Very unfortunate incident. The sub-inspector was kidnapped and interrogated by these terrorists who are operating over there. And then finally they shot him and killed him. This shows that all these targeted killings that are taking place are only being done at the behest of ISI, because the terrorists in Kashmir Valley do not have that many strength or numbers to confront the security forces head on. This sort of targeted killings will carry on till such time all the underground and overground workers in operating over there in Kashmir Valley are not identified and put behind bars. So it is imperative upon the population of Kashmir now to come up and stand up against all these terrorists and inform the security forces, especially Jammu Kashmir Police, about any known underground, overground worker or any terrorists who are hiding there, so that the security forces can deal with them. The sooner they do it, the better it is, and peace will return back to the valley the soonest.
अल्लाह ही जानता है, क्या कहें, किसी को मालूम ही नहीं से किसी के सामने किसी को मार के नहीं तो बताएंगे उसने मारा, ये मालूम ही नहीं होता है। रात का वक्त है, जब सोए सब सो रहे थे,
है वो बदकिस्मत तो क्या है, सुबह इंसान निकलता है घर से, शाम को उम्मीद नहीं आती वापस आएगा, बड़ी निंदा करते हैं, मजम्मत करते हैं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mother has hit a century. Yes, viewers, Prime Minister Modi's mother, Hiraben Modi, entered her 100th year today. On the occasion, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited his mother at Raisan village on the outskirts of Gandhinagar city on the eve, where the Prime Minister washed his mother's feet and sought her blessings. Hiraben Modi lives with the Prime Minister's younger brother, Pankaj Modi.
હીરાબા પરમ વંદનીય આપણા હીરાબાનો 100મો જન્મદિવસ છે, એટલા માટે પૂરા દેશની જનતાને આજે એટલો બધો ઉત્સાહ છે, ઉમંગ છે, અને લગભગ 6:30 આસપાસ મોદી સાહેબ સોસાયટીમાં બાના આશીર્વાદ લેવા માટે પધાર્યા. ખૂબ જ આનંદિત છીએ આજે કે બાના 100મા જન્મદિવસે સોસાયટીમાં દરેક સભ્યોએ પણ પોતપોતાના ઘરમાં પ્રાર્થના કરી છે. ગઈકાલ રાતથી જ બધા આતુર હતા. ભગવાન મહાદેવજી સોમનાથમાં ભગવતી હીરાબાને હંમેશા સ્વસ્થ રાખે, કાયમ માટે સ્વસ્થ રાખે તેવી શુભેચ્છા, મંગલ કામના, ઈશ્વરને પ્રાર્થના કે હીરાબા હજુ વર્ષોના વર્ષો સુધી આવા જ આશીર્વાદ દેશની જનતા પર રહે.
And well, news and updates continue on Northeast Live, so stay tuned for more news. Thank you.
Northeast Live, the most viewed